Hello, Cowboy Nation. I'm Nick Eatman here along with Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. And 2-0 start, that's kind of exactly how you wanted to draw it up. But I don't know, are you even surprised by the way that some of these first two games have gone?
Absolutely. You just don't get in many games where, pretty much you've got the game in hand in the fourth quarter. Usually, as we all know, it's right down to the last 2 minutes of every game. And, the NFL is so competitive. It's so hard to win in this league. As Tex Ram told Jerry one time, they pay their guys too. But certainly, this defense is, playing at a real high level, which we had high expectations coming in. Obviously, there's room for improvement. You look at the red zone, how we did there. I think we ended up, the good news is the kicker made 5 out of 5 field goals. The bad news is he kicked 5 field goals rather than maybe a couple more touchdowns and 3 field goals. But those are all things we can go back to the drawing board. And, I think Dak said it best. We're playing great complementary football. We're protecting the ball. We're making plays on the ball to turn the ball over. Certainly getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And, one of the gratifying things is seeing, through 2 games, it's a long year, but, we wanted to shore up that run defense. And looks like so far we're doing a pretty good job. Those were 2 great backs we were going against that the Jets had, and we were able to contain them pretty well.
Yeah, I thought DeMarcus Lawrence's first tackle of the game just set the tone there. On that defense, he's one of many guys. We've talked about depth this entire time from training camp to now, and it just seems like when you get in these games, even when you get a lead, who are you going to put in? You're still putting in quality players across the line. That it's hard for teams to come back if you're going to rotate that many good players.
Well, that's one of the things we always strive for. There's nothing like making a team more solid, more sound than competition in the offseason, competition at training camp. And I do think this team has a lot of depth. I mentioned before we started the season, it was one of our tougher cut downs to 53, one of our tougher practice squads to find spots for, because we had so many players that deserve to be on some form of the roster. But to have that type of depth, to where you can roll that defensive front, to feel good about your depth, at corner and safety. Certainly J. Lou coming back and getting 11 snaps. Great to see him out there. He's played at a high level, made plays on big stages, and then of course to lose Tyler for a couple games and have Chuma step up, and then Chuma get hit a little, bunged up a little bit, and then have Bass step up and do the job, and then see the backs, all the backs doing their job between TP and Rico and Deuce. It's just right now I feel really good about this roster. Certainly that Big Ten tight end room we have is doing their part as well. So really feel good about this roster at this point. We've got to stay healthy, and we got to keep getting better.
Jalen Tolbert was another one that came in and did some nice things with Brandon Cooks being out.
Absolutely. I shouldn't forget him because he's come a long ways.
Definitely. And on the flip side of that, this is in the category of great problems to have. When Donovan Wilson, it seems like he's getting closer and closer to coming back with a calf injury. Wanye Thomas has played well. Marquise Bell. I mean, you got some tough decisions just to get the guys active to the game.
Well, right now, like I said, we've been very fortunate. We've had a few injuries, but they're not long-term injuries. We're getting guys back and healthy, and that's a great problem to have. But you're right. There's some guys who deserve to be playing out there that are, there'll be some, Sundays, Mondays where they don't dress, and there'll be others when we have to have them. So, we've put together a really solid roster here. As we all know, this is a long season. We're only 2 games into this long season, and we'll end up needing all these guys to do what we want to do, which is compete to win a championship.
I'm going to take you back to the 90s when Emmitt Smith was doing his thing, Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Dion. When did they ever stop surprising you with what they could do? Because I ask that because are we getting to the point where Micah, everything he does, I mean, we're going to just say this is what he does now? We're not really surprised anymore.
Well, that's what great players do, and certainly he's on the far extreme of great. I mean, he does step up and just continue to make you say, wow. Right when you think you've seen it all, he comes up with another something. And certainly that's what happens when if you want to win a championship. They got to be consistently making plays throughout the year, and feel like this group certainly is setting the tone. We've got the culture right now. where everybody's challenging everybody, and hopefully it'll continue to make us a better football team because they're not all going to be like the last 2 games. We're going to get into, I'm sure, some real dogfights where you got to make plays at the very end of the game to pull it out, and I know we'll have those challenges.
What do you like out of the play calling you've seen so far from Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, I just think it's been outstanding. I mean, Mike knows what he has as the head coach. He knows he's got a great defensive unit. He knows we play great on special teams, and he wants to play complementary football. And this offense certainly has, I think, the personnel to be great. But at the same time, I think he's doing a great job of taking what the defense gives him. He knew this was one of the best defenses we'd go against all year in the Jets. Had a great game plan for it, not to give them anything that they didn't earn, and their defense. And that's why, when you play a great defense, sometimes you got to be happy with those 5 field goals and a couple of touchdowns. It's enough to win the game when you have a great defense.
Do you have a stance on taking the ball to start the game or deferring, or do you like it? It seems like Mike is more of a game-to-game, I got a feel for it.
He is. I mean, Mike has a plan. All these things are strategic, and, he has his way of how he wants to go about it, and we certainly have nothing but respect and want to do what he thinks is best for the football team on that given Sunday in terms of any decision he might make, whether it's to defer or whether it's to go ahead and take the ball, or whatever decision he may make, we're comfortable with.
Last one. Unique things seem to happen when we go to Arizona. I don't know really why that is, but what are your thoughts about the Cowboys playing out there? A lot of Cowboy fans typically there, and also just going into this game, getting a chance to go to 3-0.
Well, certainly they got after the Giants early and often. Last week they ended up, the Giants, I think, finally came back and got the W, but that's going to be a challenge out there. They got some really good football players on that team, obviously a new coaching staff, but it's always a challenge when we go out there. It is great that we do have a lot of fans out there. Hopefully they'll be able to get their hands on some of those tickets and come out and support us. But as we know, our only focus as a football team are on the Arizona Cardinals right now, and they're going to be a really hard out, and we've got to go in there and play our best football if we want to come away successful.
All right, well, we'll talk next week, and hopefully we'll be talking about a 3-0 start and the way the Cowboys have started this off. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Nick. Great being on.
All right, Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. We'll see you next time on DallasCowboys.com.